Hello there. I wanted to show you some of the things I have been sewing off camera, and it sort of turned into a whole thing. But here is look one, mostly covered up by my 1940s wool coat here. This is a vintage 1940s coat with a 1950s or 60s Trifari brooch pinned onto the collar. But underneath I have this wool and latex, or faux latex dress that I made here recently. Now I actually cut this wool dress out several years ago. It's literally been sitting cut out and unfinished in my sewing room for maybe 2 years, but I decided to finish it up and spice it up with this section of patent leather or faux patent leather in the front that dips down in these triangles in the back. And I paired that patent leather section with patent leather thigh-high boots here, and then a shiny Plastiflex clutch and silver lame gloves. This dress is made just from my regular block pattern for the skirt, and then for the top I separated the front into a princess seam, but the rest is just as usual with my 3/4 sleeve, and this dress is fully lined. Next up I have this color blocked Pique dress that I made recently over on Instagram. I was posting pictures of the process over on my Instagram stories as I made this, and they are saved in my sewing highlight over on my Instagram if you'd like to see some of the making of this dress. But this is an unlined color blocked Pique dress. Of course, this is that stretch Pique I quite like from moodfabrics.com. It is a little bit thick for doing color blocking like this. I think this would be even better in something like a cotton sateen that is a little bit lighter weight. But despite the many pieces and a lot of top stitching I had to do for this dress, I am in love with the result. I really like how the dark color spreads outwards into the kind of soft green shade here, and it looks very fierce paired with patent accessories like this, but I think it would look a lot more 50s and maybe a little bit more appropriate, I guess, with a normal pair of heels. We have another 1940s coat here. This one is the one that I was recently gifted, and it is just so gorgeous and feels very elegant and chic to swish around in. Now here I wanted to highlight this Mr. John Fascinator. This is probably a 1960s Fascinator that I actually had to refurbish because the base was a little bit wobbly, so I sewed it onto a new Cinema base with a little bit of crinoline as well for a Blade Runner inspired Fascinator. I paired that Fascinator with my spiderweb sparkling heels and a little clutch I found that matches those shoes quite well. But I really wanted to show you this skirt that I made earlier in the year. This again is a fabric that has been in my stash for a very long time. This is actually a brocade from Gretchen Hirsch's line with Joanne several years ago, and I had this yard of the silver hanging out in my stash still. And here in look 4 I have one of my wrap back tops, this time made in a layered organza brocade. They call them luxury brocades over on moodfabrics.com, and they are quite expensive. But I had a lot of rewards points over there racked up, so I decided to splurge on a few very fancy fabrics that you will see throughout this video. I've paired this here with a sheer turtlenecked little modern polyester blouse that I'd picked up on Amazon. I will link this below. Of course, I intend to wear this longer than fast fashion normally is intended, I suppose, because I don't want it because it's trendy, I want it because it's spiderwebs. But I paired those two items with my black wool pencil skirt and some metallic bait footwear shoes. I believe this is a 1980s necklace. It's a huge oversized coil, and I'm just in love with this giant collar. Then I have another wrap back top again with a simpler V neckline and another of Mood's luxury brocades. This one is just stunning in these bold jewel tones with a gray and like silvery black mix as well in this sort of abstract, almost animal print kind of pattern. Again, just my simple wrap back top pattern that you've seen me make here on the channel. I'll put a card up to that. This is a faux fur wrap I made by sewing 2 faux fur collars together. Then this is my speckled wool gray pencil skirt that I made several years ago, paired here with 1960s gray gloves, some silver earrings, and a large brooch, and then my bait footwear metallic shoes again. This metallic leather clutch was another gift that I received recently that matches these shoes rather well. I was doing my best to style this brocade top for day here, so you can let me know if you think this would still be appropriate for day wear. Then we have this sort of superhero color blocked dress that I made recently. Again, I was posting progress pictures of this over on Instagram, so if you want to see, sometimes I will put things I'm sewing off camera. I won't photograph them or film them for the channel, but I will put them process over on Instagram. So that was the case with this dress. And funny enough, this metallic fabric here that you're seeing is actually metallic swimwear 4-way stretch spandex fabric, is what this iridescent fabric is here, but it was not the problem child of this project because this gray fabric was actually quite troublesome to work with, but I am very happy with this very like real estate agent in Tomorrowland look, this finished dress. And I paired this with matching iridescent heels and a 1950s or 60s handbag. Then another cotton pique dress, this time in navy blue. This again is the stretch cotton pique from over on moodfabrics.com. And I've just done my normal block pattern here with the all-in-one sleeve and that new neckline that I've been favoring so much recently. I paired this with silver lame gloves, still those iridescent heels because I actually don't have a pair of closed-toe silver-heeled shoes in my closet, which is such a shame. But I filled this neckline in with this large brutalist necklace, probably from the 1960s, maybe the 70s, that really fills in this neckline entirely, but I thought it was a fun way to feature this rather brutalist, ice-like piece of jewelry. Then I guess this is my way of doing Y2K fashion. You know, imagine if the skirt was a lot shorter. But here I am in a faux patent leather skirt. This is an iridescent black latex coated 4-way stretch spandex again. This again is just a like sort of swimwear or athletic fabric that I've just made into a pencil skirt. And I can show you how to make these stretch pencil skirts here on the channel if you'd like to see. It is very, very simple. This is another of my wrap back tops, again with the all-in-one sleeve. This time I've chosen to use the back side of the brocade or the jacquard fabric here for the front and half of the back, and then the correct side or the outward fashion fabric side for the other side of the wrap in the back, just for a little bit of contrast and because I liked both sides of this fabric. I have a vintage 1950s box bag here in coarse black patent leather and black patent leather heels. These are my Steve Madden heels, but I switched to because the pleaser heels I was wearing with earlier in the shoot really tried to kill my feet. And here is that jacquard again in a skirt as well. So this is the same top, just paired with the matching skirt that I made. This is made with my side drape skirt pattern that I have shown here on the channel before. I can put a card up to that video here. But I know for the most part, many of you are going to be interested in the raincoat that I paired with this. This is the Romantica style raincoat from Elements Rainwear, a UK-based custom rainwear company that I will link below. This is their RA69 style in the green glass PVC. But with this look, I went ahead and paired my green clutch with my green lame high heel sandals from, again, Bait Footwear, and I am super pleased with how this came out. I've had this fabric in my stash for, again, at least over a year, if not a couple of years now, but I was afraid to use it because I just loved it so much. So I decided the only way to get around this problem was to order a little bit more. So I made that skirt, wrap back top, and then this dress. This dress, again, has my all-in-one sleeve. I've just moved the dart up into the shoulder here, so I have the dart sewn externally on the outside, just at the tip of the shoulder. You can hardly tell, of course, in this busy print. I have this ridiculous feather headband on here. This is made with a spray of feathers from Petershams. I will again link that millinery supplier below, that I've just sewn onto a headband to pair with this because the threads inside this jacquard are actually very neon and they are UV reactive. This would be an excellent dress to wear out where there might be black light at any time. Not that I go to those sort of places often, but I paired this with a long patent leather clutch and patent leather heels. Here for look 11, this is actually my biggest splurge fabric purchase ever. I don't think I've ever spent more on 1 yard of fabric, but it is not a bad deal. It may be expensive for a yard of fabric, but it's not a bad deal for a really nice pencil skirt. And I do love the textured look of this, again, layered organza brocade from moodfabrics.com. I've paired this with black patent leather heels and another 1950s or 60s clutch handbag here with a handle. And then this sweater actually recently thrifted. It is a 90s or early 2000s sweater in black with a lurex thread running through it and a big cowl neck in the front. And again, I have silver jewelry paired with this. Then there's this skirt, which I know you've all been distracted by because it's very distracting on camera, honestly. Again, this super shiny iridescent metallic look, like liquid metal skirt here is made out of nylon spandex 4-way stretch metallic swimwear fabric. You can find fabrics like these in a great many of places, but my new favorite source for them is a shop called Alex LA Fabrics on Etsy, so I will link them below. That is where I picked up this fabric. Again, I have another feather headband. This time I glued pieces of oil slick plastic onto the feathers so it had an iridescent look like this as well. And then this top is actually, it's almost easier to see the texture of this organza here in the darker lightings. This is another luxury organza brocade kind of deal from moodfabrics.com. This is an entirely iridescent, like plastic mylar threads and white brocade that is just absolutely stunning and really hard to even capture on film. And again, I've paired my iridescent 9 West heels with that and a really old modern clutch that I bought back in college that I still have. The fabrics really here command a lot of attention, so I didn't want to go overboard with my accessories, so I've just paired this with an AB iridescent clip-on earring. And then finally, I have the dress that I made out of this same jewel tone brocade fabric. This dress I made first, and then I made the top out of the leftover fabric from making this dress. So out of 2 yards of very expensive fabric, I did manage to eke out 2 projects, which makes me feel at least happy about that. And here I've paired this with, of course, rhinestone jewelry, my rhinestone spiderweb heels again, and my vintage rhinestone sparkling clutch here. And I think the sparkle really blends a cocktail hour look to this, and I could even go for the green heels and clutch, perhaps with this look, for more day to evening sort of styling. I hope you enjoyed this look at what I've been sewing off camera recently, been working with some different materials and experimenting with different textures and, well, honestly, thermoplastic fibers, which are not usually my jam, but we all know how I like shiny sparkly things, and usually those do tend to be polyesters. Thank you as always for watching today. I will have a couple of projects coming to the channel soon showing you how I do these color block projects, and I leave you today with a few outtakes of me struggling in those pleaser heels.